Eric, what's going on? Jamal, how you doing? Hey, thank you. Good morning, everybody. Appreciate it. All right, let's get to work. Okay, we got flat open on the market right now. Nothing too crazy. We're just kind of chopping around here till earnings season starts, and then, we'll have to see where we're at. But there's more than enough plays that are cruising around right now. So let's dig into those and see where we're at. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, Polo, how you doing, Anthony? How you doing? Same thing with the SPY. We got flat open. There's really nothing to see on the indexes beyond just we're trending and the market's hot, blah, 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 blah. In the meantime, there's more than enough earnings plays to start keep busy today. We got Weight Watchers breaking down below 20. I think this one's got a chance. If it could stay under 20, we'll look to possibly ORB this one. It trades a little bit thin. At one point, its market cap's only $1 billion. At one point, it was 5-6 times, the market cap. It had a little bit more range. Some of the range is going down, obviously, because, it went from 100 to 20. But I think we still got a little bit of a chance on this one. Robbie, I got you. This VKTX may be okay if it stays above this 200 SMA. You may be able to ORB this bad boy. I wouldn't say that VKTX is like some hot heat due to the fact that its daily chart is just so-so. I give it a B, maybe even a B minus. It's worth watching, but it's not like a focus for me. So I got on the list too, but I'm not really focusing on it. This 5 is getting ready for a breakout. So we got 1 test, 2 tests. We're running in on the 3rd test. It got an upgrade today, so you're starting to see a little bit of a push in terms of where it's going to be at with its breakout. You can see if this thing does break out, it will break out to all-time highs, which is something that we like, right? Stocks that are breaking out to all-time highs always tend to have a good run in them if they can hold those highs. So we definitely want to keep an eye on this. The intraday range on 5 is pretty good too. It should move well enough for us to catch a little bit of a shred. So I'll be watching this one for either an ORB or a quick pullback buy at the open. And dun. If you guys like small caps, this GLLG is, if it can hang out over 3, I think that, you could build into something here. The key is going to be it's got to break out over here and hold that 200 SMA. If it can, then I think you're going to have a nice spot to play this thing. But if it breaks back under, then you got to leave it alone. One thing to remember too is don't get too gung-ho at the open on some of these things. If it sets up, it sets up. A lot of them do run later in the day. So watch for that 2 p.m., 3 p.m. action. That's when you get an easier play because you'll start to see it even out. You'll start to see a little bit of higher lows. All day nailed it in the chat room yesterday on this ATAI. We sat around all damn day, pun intended. Sat around literally all day, and you can see it's just a hot choppy mess to trade for a little bit, right? And you're just hanging out. And what you want to see into the afternoon, this is always really important, is what you want to see in the afternoons, you want to see it to start to make these kind of lower highs. See how you're making lower highs? And then once you start to base and build power over that VWAP, then you can kind of get that mega penis candle, which is what all traders live for, right? It's how can I put myself in the position to get a mega penis and you got to just be patient for them. This thing's dead now, but in general, that's kind of how you want to play these little guys. So, watch that on this GLG. Yeah, you do get plays at the open and stuff, but, those are a little bit trickier. You've got to have, very skinny and have a lot of dexterity in your fingers to move that fast. Let's talk about just like the regular stocks. I've got this TradeWeb on watch list. This thing has, it's got really good range. It's an IPO stock. It seems like it's one of those stocks that's just going to grind higher for the next few days. It's due for a pullback, but it did have like a one-day consolidation and then, went red to green yesterday. So I do think you'll have some more push in this. Definitely one to watch for the next couple weeks too. Like a hot IPO like this, one actually that holds up. That first pullback, you don't need to have EMAs on this thing, right? Because it's just brand new. But that first pullback is going to get really fun on it. And I would add in G8. So this is a rounding bottom play. So when you think about moving average pullbacks and stuff like that, a rounding bottom play is really, really powerful. If you have a very steep pullback, so this one was basically almost 50%, and then you start to round, when you finally kind of creep over and remount your MAs, you'll have the ability to start, potentially retrending this thing. It's got really sick range. The range on this thing was $7 yesterday, so you can trade in and out of it anyways. I think this one will be a good one to watch. And then this lift, I was hoping this thing would hold red. We've had 3 big down days. If we get one more flush on this thing, guys, I think that I think you'll have a play on this. Ideally for me, is this thing breaks down under 60, and then you get kind of an over and under on it, like a red to green or something like that. I hope this thing fucking doesn't start to pop at the open, because if it starts to pop at the open, it's going to take a little bit of the expansion out of it in terms of the rubber band setup. In terms of rubber band setup, you need that last deep dive on something to get it. When you have something that's fallen 3 big days with 3 big candles like that with expanding volume, usually if you can gap down or push down one more time, you have your chance. You have the ability to get a really nice rebound. And if this thing does start to rebound, we could get this thing back into, this zone over here. So we should have a few points in it. I won't chase this thing up, though. I was really hoping for one more gap down. But watch this thing if this opening spike, I want to see this. If this opening spike here, and it's not even really a spike, right, but this opening green, if it fades off and goes red, then we'll watch this kind of 60 area to see, how it reacts around there. The ideal scenario is for it to break under and then break back over, right? Kind of freak everybody out, get the shorters back in, and then come in with the push. This is my favorite watch for today. It's got the liquidity and the juice that I need, along with some of these gappers and G8. So that's the watch list. Thank you everybody for the birthday wishes. Appreciate it. Been with some of you guys for many a moons. George, good to see you. Aaron, good to see you. Anthony, I really appreciate it. It's been a fun ride with some of you guys, so let's go and make a little money today and do what we do, and we'll let the market play out the way it wants. Remember, earnings season starting up, so keep your mental and financial capital clean. The market is slow. Don't overtrade. Just bide your time. Wait for the right setups. I made this mistake too the last couple weeks. It's the market's been slow, and I'm just here trying to bounce this fucking Roku every day like a degenerate because there's nothing else to do. What we want to do is, if the market's just not there, we leave it alone, and we'll play things the way we need to play things. FSLR and TPX are both on the list too, YouTuber. You can definitely keep that on the list. Blairski, FTFT, I'm not familiar with, but oh yeah, you know what? That didn't show up on my scan, but I would put that on the list too. Good. You know what? And thank you. Anshul, appreciate it. Eric, appreciate it. I missed this one. So I would add that to the list too. My apologies on that. Not sure why it didn't show up on my scan. Cool. Let's do what we do, folks. Hasta mañana. Hasta luego. Peace in the Middle East.